Welcome to the Walk On Diaries podcast, episode 13. As you can probably tell, John is not with me right now. He picked up a late work shift, so he's going to be checking in later. Right now, though, I am with Keith Oddo, walk-on legend at the University of Louisville. Keith, how's it going, man?
Good. Everything's going well. I appreciate you guys having me on. And a walk-on legend is a little bit excessive, but I appreciate it.
Well, it you know what? I tried to hype you up, but it just might be excessive because we're going to start off talking about your trillion count, man. So you begin the year with a solid trillion against Youngstown State, a solid 1 trillion. But 2 days later, you get in against Indiana State, 2 minutes played, no shots, no assists, no rebounds, no steals. So it's all looking good. But Keith, you messed it up. You committed 2 personal fouls to mess up the trillion. What's up with that?
Listen, you gotta, as a walk-on, you gotta find a way to get in the box score. So I was doing everything that I possibly could to get open on the perimeter, but unfortunately, I run a little bit of the point guard when I get in there. So my main concern was just trying my best not to turn the ball over and get some of the scholarship guys some shots up. But unfortunately, I was called for a offensive foul, crashing the boards. I had to try to get a little putback layup in or something to get the crowd hyped. But no, it was fun. And then just getting out there and playing in the Yum Center is a lot of fun.
Yeah. So would you put yourself in the camp of walk-ons? Because I feel like there's 2 very distinct groups. There's the group that is, like you said, just trying to get into the box score, trying to get the crowd hyped up. And then there's the group that kind of follows like the Mark Titus role of trying to get the trillion. So just trying to be completely invisible out there. So which camp would you put yourself into?
I'm always trying to, get the crowd hyped up. I'd say the first one, if I can get a chippy little bucket here and there, like for example, I'm trying to think who we were playing the other day, but when I came in the game, I knew that they were in the bonus, or we were in 1-1 or something like that. And so I immediately knew that I was going to get the ball on the baseline and just I bumped into a guy and kind of just sold it for a flop.
Yes.
So as soon as I got fouled, I got to go to the line and shoot 2 free throws. So that immediately got the crowd into it. I missed the first one. I was a little jittery.
Oof.
And then the second one, it went in for me. You wouldn't believe it was like Louisville won the national championship all over again. So it was kind of funny. It's cool to get your teammates excited like that.
Yeah, I mean, going back, did you ever imagine that you would be scoring a point for a top 5 team in the country, a team like Louisville? I mean, you're in the box score for the number 2 team in the country. What is that like?
It's for all guys. I mean, whether you're a walk-on or not, just being able to compete at the University of Louisville. I mean, we have a 20,000 seat arena. You get to play for Chris Mack, one of the best coaches in the nation, and just it's kind of surreal every time you put on the jersey, especially, I have a Louisville number 1 jersey, so there's actually a lot of Louisville number 1 jerseys in the crowd, which is, they probably have no idea who I am. It's just the fact that it's number 1. It's cool playing at this level and just kind of getting the experience of, competing for a top 5 team. And, every kid dreams of this. So, I'm cherishing this last year of college basketball for me.
So the early part of the season for a lot of these Power 5 teams is kind of like blowout season. So I feel like this is a time of the year that walk-ons can look forward to as maybe getting their only playing time of the year. What's going through your head as a game turns into a blowout and you know that there's a good chance you're going to get in?
Well, honestly, there's multiple aspects that go into it. I was a grad transfer from the University of Richmond. I was a walk-on there, and then I earned the scholarship, and I'm walking on again here. And of course, I want to get in there whenever I can, and play the best ball that I can. But when you see a team full court pressing, for example, we played the other night. We were blowing a team out. They were full court pressing our guards. And I'm just sitting there at the end of the bench. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to get pressed. I haven't dribbled a ball in 40 minutes, and I've been sitting here, I'm stiff. So like those type of thoughts kind of go through your mind. But honestly, like for me, it's just getting out there, getting to wear a Louisville jersey, and just compete at this level. Whether getting like you said, getting the crowd into it, getting your teammates that just blew the team out, getting them excited. That's kind of it all pays off.
When you were at Richmond or even now at Louisville, do opposing teams' fans trash talk you?
Well, at Richmond they did, especially it was a lower level of basketball, mid-major basketball. So specifically, when we would play like rivalry games. So at Richmond, our biggest rival was VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University. And so, when we would go in those big games, there's, of course, I'm a Virginia kid, so just any games in Virginia, I always knew some people in the student section, so they would give me a hard time. But, here, so far, we've only played one game, and that's at Miami. And the atmosphere was solid. There's probably 40% Louisville fans in there anyway, so I haven't yet to experience the true, getting into Cameron Indoor Stadium. I'm sure that if we follow up on this in a couple months, I'll have some wild stories to tell you. But it's I enjoy it. I enjoy all the ups and downs that come with being a walk on. So it's all enjoyable.
Are you the kind of guy that will talk to opposing players when you're on the bench?
It's funny that you say that. We had a game last night against Akron, and the game ended up actually being pretty close, but we were pretty dominant the entire game and just got close at the end. One of their players, they were making a run at the end, and one of their big 7-footers just started looking at our bench and went one down the line. He goes, "You didn't play. You didn't play. You didn't play." And then I realized that I was next on the list. So before he got to me, I started going right at him. So whenever you can make your impact, as a walk on, whether it's on the bench or wherever we can get to the opponent's head, we're always doing it.
Are you allowed to repeat what you said to him?
I'm definitely not allowed to repeat what I said to him, but it made him smile. That's for sure.
What's your go-to bench celebration?
We always talk about this. At Louisville, we have 2 other walk-ons on the team, and you don't want to be that group of walk-ons that imitates what Bogman did a couple years ago, where because those are the original guys doing celebrations for everything. But you want to make sure that you get the crowd hype or do something where you get noticed. So I think we've had 2. Our goals have been as a unit, the 3 of us, is to overreact on every dunk that could be on Sports Center. So for example, the other day, Jordan Wara had a big alley-oop dunk, and us 3 on the bench, kind of walked a couple steps forward near the cameras and made sure we put our arms up or flex for the camera real quick. So it was all a little bit of an overreacting, but you gotta get your camera time for the walk-ons.
So one of the walk-ons that we've talked to previously, Andrew Terrell, he was a walk-on at Maryland's. And when we were talking to him, he would tell us, especially in his senior year, he would take the leftovers from the pregame meal, say that he knows that he's not going to get into the game. So as the clock is winding down in the second half, he would sometimes send a manager to go back to the locker room, get the leftovers from the pregame meal, if it's steak or fish or whatever, and have that team manager bring him a plate of food that he would eat while on the bench. Have you ever tried to eat while on the bench during a game?
That's what we call a legendary walk-on move right there. I mean, that's one of a kind. And shout out to whatever manager was agreeing to bring him to, because that's a big time play. But so I mean, I've gotten to the point. I'm sitting there on the bench yesterday at our game, and one of our freshmen who's redshirting just starts pulling Jolly Ranchers out. I'm like, bro, sock, and he's got like 6 or 7 Jolly Ranchers and gum in his sock because he knows he's not going to play. So he might as well, get a little sugar rush, get a little enjoyment out of it. So I think his name is Jalen Withers. I think I might have to steal Mr. Withers' idea and bring some candy on the bench. Maybe I know we're going to get into this segment a little bit, but maybe I'll have somebody deliver me a little milkshake or something.
Oh, that would be perfect, man. You got to do that at some point. Okay, and then the last question for this little segment, and then we'll springboard into the next segment. Big walk on question: would you rather take a charge or hit a three in a game?
Every walk on you got to be able to take a charge. But for me, you know, if a crowd, you're talking about a crowd pleaser, and if you hit a three in a game, the crowd will lose it, especially here. When they're Louisville is such a basketball city. The right answer for me would be, the walk on answer is to say, hey, you got to take a charge, but when you get a chance to hit a three, there's no better feeling.
Fair enough, bro. All right, this concludes segment one. All right, back here with Keith Oddo. Keith, thanks for joining us again. Louisville is the number 2 team in the country. Do you guys talk about that in the locker room, or is there a certain amount of pressure that goes along with that?
We know that we're going to get everybody's best shot, and at the end of the day, a number 2 ranking is just a number. It's early on in the season. We're Coach Mack and our whole coaching staff is just trying to get us better every single day, improving on what we didn't do in the last game. We're working consistently on finishing drills, finishing ball games. Those little things are what separates top 25 team from a Final Four team. So just doing the little things every single day are the stuff that's going to get us there.
You mentioned Jordan earlier. How good is Jordan Nwora, and what has it been like to watch him up close?
Jordan's sensational. He's the best. His ability to score the ball is so natural. I mean, I was sitting there against Akron. We played Akron last night, and he takes so many of those shots that are just like, what in the world is that? And then it just somehow goes in. And you're like, well, that's why he's number 1 for Player of the Year. Early on so far, but he's sensational. He's 6'7", 6'8". Can shoot the lights out, is a really, really good athlete. People don't give him enough credit because he's such a good shooter. But he's a professional. He'll be in the NBA, and it's cool to he's right next to me in the locker room. He's one of my really good friends, so it's cool developing that relationship.
Absolutely. Keith, you started out at Richmond as a walk-on. Coming out of high school, a lot of guys that are walk-ons at these big Power 5 schools, people may not realize that those guys still dominated in high school. Like, these are not just guys that they're pulling out, from the quad to just dress out. These are guys that were good players in high school, that are into practice, that are playing with the big boys. What all went into that decision of, do I want to go to a smaller school like a D3 or NAI and get some playing time and be the big guy on campus, or do I want to be a walk-on at one of these bigger schools? What was that process like for you?
Well, for me, it was 2 different processes. So when I came out of high school, a lot of walk-ons at the Division I level, I had tons of Division III interest, Division II offers, and then low-level Division I schools were sniffing around. Took some official visits my senior year. Ultimately, my sister had just graduated from the University of Richmond. I was familiar with the school. My dad went to grad school there, so it was convenient when the opportunity to commit there as a walk-on early on in my senior year. Not having to go through the admissions process or really anything like that into a good school. That was kind of an easy decision for me. I didn't necessarily play as much as I would have liked at Richmond, but the experience that I gained there was fantastic, and learning from another good coach, and Coach Chris Mooney was also a great experience for me as I potentially want to get into the coaching ranks moving forward. And then when I did this grad transfer process at Louisville this past summer, the goal was to go somewhere and play. And it's funny because I'm at the University of Louisville right now, but the original goal was to go somewhere where I would get a lot of playing time, spend this one last year making up for kind of the lack of playing time that I got at my time at Richmond. So ended up with 5 Division II offers, and again, a couple of Division I schools just sniffing around. And next thing you know, my former teammate at Richmond, who actually grad transferred to Louisville last season, his name was Quan Ford. He started for Louisville last season. Was like, hey, 3 walk-ons transferred from Louisville. Why don't you talk to Coach Mack? And next thing you know, when you get on the phone with Coach Mack and you have an opportunity to play at such a prestigious basketball school like Louisville, no person turns that down. So it was a easy decision for me, and hopefully I can, next year as I finish my grad school, get the grad assistant spot. So that's the goal moving forward.
So, like for walk-ons, did you put your name like in the transfer portal, or was it just kind of like you called Coach Mack, or I mean, what was that like?
Yeah, so I was actually in the transfer portal. Again, I was on scholarship my senior year at Richmond. So when I transferred, I actually had to. The one downside of getting the scholarship was I had to go through the transfer process as if I was a scholarship player.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a brutal process. It's you got to get cleared by the NCAA. That takes time. You got to get in the portal. You got to get approved by a bunch of different. There's a bunch of steps with it. Sorry, repeat your question one more time.
Oh yeah, no, I was just curious. I mean, it was really just like if you put your name in the transfer portal or not. But I guess I mean with the scholarship, you still had to do all that transfer stuff.
Yeah, I was in the portal for a couple weeks, and then went through the recruiting process for 4 or 5 weeks. Took a visit to a couple Division II schools, and then I didn't even need to visit Louisville, honestly. Like I said, when you talk to Chris Mack or any high level coach, you don't need much convincing.
Mm-hmm. Louisville is obviously a really big basketball town. When you're out and about, say when you're doing a milkshake review or whatever, do you get recognized when you go places?
It's funny. Whenever I'm with one of my teammates, they'll kind of be able to connect the dots.
Okay.
They'll be like, oh, that's Jordan Wara. Oh, and that kid plays on the team too. What's his name? Something like that. So,
yeah.
Though a diehard fan, they'll recognize me. And the cool thing about being a Louisville Cardinal is, you get 22,000. There's 22,000 seats in that arena. We're dang near selling it out every time. And, just to be in this community there, the people that do recognize you are always, saying, great job last night, even if you didn't play. Great win. Can't wait to come support you guys next game. So, the recognition is obviously a step up from Richmond, but, it's I still look like a golfer at the end of the day.
Have you tried to use that lookalike golfer kind of persona to try to sneak into an intramural league and just dominate? Like, have you had buddies who try to get you on their intramural team?
100%. We unfortunately, and this is how it was at Richmond. Unfortunately, a walk-on at Richmond when I was there blew out his ankle doing that, and so from that point on, the intramural games were done for all of us. But it's funny, at Louisville, our basketball kind of dormitory, it's like our where we live, is right next to the student center. So I have not yet gotten to pop over there for a couple games, but I'm sure that when this season is over and retirement sets into it, I'll definitely sneak over there. Tell them I'm a Louisville golfer or something like that. Hit a couple threes on them.
Okay. Well, I mean, this was gonna be my last question, but I might as well insert it right here because you brought up when basketball season is over. Is there any thought to withdrawing from school at the conclusion of the season in order to better prepare for the NBA draft?
Something I was telling that I need to be the first. Has any walk-on ever done that?
We had a couple guys. It's actually funny. We talked to Chase Miller last year. He was a walk-on at MTSU, and he officially declared for the NBA draft on this podcast. And we had the MTSU compliance department tweet us or DM us saying just to let everyone know, Chase cannot officially declare for the draft while he is in season. So we got a little bit of hot water about that. So we don't want you to get in trouble, but the question's out there.
Listen, our strength. I was talking to our guys about this the other day. I was making a joke about how I'm gonna because Jordan and Steve Enoch both put their name in and came out. Came returned to school this past season. So I was making a joke about how our strength and conditioning coach is just really brutal. I mean, the lifts here are just absolutely they're nightmarish. I mean, they're terrible. So I was telling our freshman walk-on Hogan, who I think you might know a little bit. I was telling Hogan that Louisville's going to become a one and done place simply because of how hard the lifts are. I was like, Hogan, you need to test the waters next year, and let's see if we can get you a second round draft pick or something like that.
Yes. All right. Okay. Then these final couple questions. Talk to me about these milkshake reviews, man. How did they start? What is your motivation for these milkshake reviews?
Yeah, when I was at Richmond, I kind of, as a joke, I enjoy Oreo milkshakes in my social media bios. And it kind of just became like a joke at first, my junior year at Richmond, so 2.5, 3 years ago. And then my friends were like, dude, you really, everywhere we go, no matter if it's like McDonald's or if it's a nice restaurant that happens to have milkshakes, you're always getting an Oreo milkshake. So it kind of got to the point where like people were like, no, this kid might have an actual problem with Oreo milkshakes. Then it got to the point, at the end of last year, people kind of started, Keith, go try this Oreo milkshake, go try that one. So I started doing some, on my Instagram page, kind of grading these everywhere I went in Richmond. I kind of graded the milkshakes. So, if I went to Cookout or somewhere like that, I'd say, hey, this is an A-, this is a 90, maybe a little bit too thick in texture, but a great amount of Oreos, something like that. And some of the fans really liked them. So, as I, came to Louisville, and obviously when you're at Louisville, you're on a little bit of a different platform. You have a little bit more of a following. The fans are more engaged. And so as soon as I got to Louisville, I had tons of people I'm probably 100 people in the first month messaged me like, you got to go here. You got to try this. And then I kept doing my reviews, and the next thing you know, 2 weeks ago, a reporter hit me up. It was like, hey, I'm going to follow you around to a couple milkshake, spots around Louisville, and you can tell me what you like, what you don't like, and kind of break down your grading process. And since that story dropped a couple days ago, I've had messages from Steak and Shake asking for me to review their milkshakes, and it's honestly it's quite funny. So
yeah.
I definitely have an Oreo milkshake problem. Now it's just I've been given a platform to express my love for them. So it's a little funny story.
Dude, that is absolutely wild. What's the best chain milkshake? So not one that's local to Louisville, but like you mentioned Steak and Shake. I think in the article it talked about, I don't know if you went to Cookout or not, but what's like the best chain milkshake?
It kind of depends. I've had it's funny, like there's some places in Richmond that I completely just did not like, and then for example like Steak and Shake in Richmond, I thought their milkshakes were very average. And then I got to Louisville and I thought they were for some reason better. It's kind of like you see those like little differences, but this one's gonna surprise you. Absolutely the best chain milkshake is Burger King.
No way.
It sounds crazy.
No way.
You have to get an Oreo Twix milkshake from Burger King. Probably get it at 11 o'clock at night when your taste buds are ready to go. You literally, I'm telling you, you can't beat it. And the key to every milkshake that I get is that you got to get extra Oreos. So that's kind of the for anybody listening out there, you got to get extra Oreos and go to Burger King.
Hey, you heard it here, guys. Keith Oddo, milkshake expert, Burger King, Oreo and Twix, love it. Hey, Keith, thanks again for coming on, man. We had a lot of fun. Good luck the rest of the season, and open invitation whenever you're ready. You don't have to officially commit right now, but if you start to think that you're going to be playing at the next level in the league, you just let us know. We will represent you for absolutely free. No fee required.
That sounds good, man. I appreciate you guys having me on, and look forward to talking to you guys soon.
1v1 basketball battles of history. Leonardo DiCaprio as Jack from Titanic versus Heath Ledger as the Joker in The Dark Knight. Ready? Begin. Shelby, your thoughts?
I think that basketball is arbitrary, so if it came to a gunfight, I think that Heath Ledger's Joker would win. Especially if there was a gun in the basketball game.
Okay, here's what I'll say about Jack from Titanic. That boy is wet. Literally. Like, you can't be more wet than Jack is.
He'd be so slippery. He'd slip.
I mean, it's good to be slippery. It's good to be slippery on the court. You have to have a wet jumper. You have to be able to...
He died being wet.
You have to be able to die. You have to be able and willing to die for your cause.
Although, didn't the Joker die too, or did just Heath Ledger?
Well,
No.
the Joker didn't die.
But Heath Ledger did.
Yeah, but Joker came back.
Leonardo
That's
DiCaprio, his career is basically dead. So
That is a really hot take.
How
That's-
dareth thou?
That's a really hot take.
that was a bad take. I really liked him in Once Upon a Time.
I think
Or you liked him in The Revenant.
Joker wins.
Why?
Because he'd get in his head, he'd scare him,
Yeah.
then he wouldn't be able to even
Okay.
function.
Okay.
How fast do you have to be to play basketball?
You have to be it helps.
Do you know what basketball is?
In theory, I've seen 2 basketball
theory.
games in my life.
Okay, but you know they try and get the ball in the hoop,
Yeah.
and they can pass.
I feel
Shoot.
like Leonardo DiCaprio from the Titanic is pretty. He's like, you mean like I feel like he could get the ball.
He did dance that one time,
He
didn't
did
he?
Yeah,
dance.
I know.
So he's got good handles.
Isn't
He's dancing on him.
Yeah, he's dancing on it.
isn't really
But-
sports just dancing?
The Joker is a good shooter.
Except he don't really shoot.
Why do you have a hole right here?
I
It's all
swear
up
half
here.
of my shirts have a hole right in this right armpit.
Just in the right armpit.
Yes. I think it's just because I'm too big. You know?
Or you
Like,
got-
I
Do you
keep telling
also have
myself,
a hole
stop
in your
lifting
armpit?
weights. No, you're stretching out your shirts.
I think he just has really spiky armpit hair in his right armpit. It has
Maybe,
nothing to do with your muscle.
maybe just too much testosterone means my hair
Then
growing.
you just got like. You know,
So final predictions. I'm gonna say Jack from Titanic, 11-7.
Of what?
basketball.
1v1.
Okay.
Classic rules. I mean, you've played enough 1v1 basketball in your lifetime to know.
Yeah.
You have to take it behind the line whenever the ball hits the rim. First to 11, ones and twos. So who wins?
Ledger.
Okay, what's the score?
Heath Ledger, she said.
11
Let me
to
pick
one.
1
it
to
up.
2.
1-2.
We're playing to 11.
11 to 2.
Perfect.
I love sports ball.
I can't even think straight right now.
What's new?
Everything. My mind is always clear. Here's what I think. I think it's a close game. I think Jack can somewhat handle a little brain manipulation from the
But then he
Joker.
died.
He did have to deal a lot with women, so he's used to the manipulation, the brain.
The manipulating the mind.
I think that we should unpack that
Okay.
for a second.
All right. What did the big potato say when he saw the small potato? He said, "Hey, what's up, small fry?"
Hey!
Potato. Fry. Yeah, it's pretty funny. All right. So what did the red fruit drink say when he asked the purple fruit drink how he was doing? The purple fruit drink said, "Hey, I'm grape." Great! He's purple!
Purple grape!
Wow, it's empty.
Yeah. You got one more for us?
Mm-mm. That's all. Thank you. That's all, folks.
Thanks, Burger.
All right.
Welcome to
Such a party foul.
Walk on Diaries.
Shout out Keith Oddo. He let us know that the best chain milkshake is the Burger King one of the Oreo variety. So actually, immediately after we packed up that segment, we got in the car, my 91 Cadillac Eldorado. We drove to Burger King. We got Oreo milkshakes. And Keith, you ain't lying, bro.
I'm the only one who hasn't tried it yet because.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I-
I could help myself. I took like 5 sips in the car. So
Here it is.
That's actually really good.
Hold on.
I didn't
Hold on.
expect.
Don't run the moment. It's stuck at the bottom. I got it already.
it was literally a quarter of an inch away from
Here
your
we go.
mouth.
I have a hot take. I think Chick-fil-A has better milkshakes than anybody else.
Not bad.
Let me try it.
What?
Let me try it. Please.
You gonna lick my straw?
Is that okay with you? It's alright with me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
That's the
tender.
chocolate version. I did get the chocolate. I got Oreo and chocolate. They got Oreo and vanilla.
And we got extra.
You got
Extra
Phillip
Oreo.
got extra Oreo.
Let me hit that.
Please,
Use
your words.
Thank you.
Okay. First, trying the extra Oreo vanilla. Hot take. Too much Oreo. Not enough milkshake.
Whoa.
No.
I think that's
No,
valid.
whatever.
I want a milkshake. If I
It's
wanted to
subtle.
eat Oreos, I'd go to the store and get some freaking Oreos dipped in
That
milk.
is hot tea.
It's bold.
I
I'm
mean,
with John.
I really like it.
this one's a perfect balance.
It's good. Thank you, Keith. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Keith.
your.
Thanks, Keith, for pimping my ride.
Yeah.
That's too much Oreo.
It's very good.
Chase it with a burger.
Not a huge Burger King fan, but I would drive to Burger King to get this milkshake.
All right.
I would too.
I did.
I don't know
We
why
did.
you. I don't know. I don't know why you do that though, because Chick-fil-A has perfectly good milkshakes, and they're like 5 seconds away.
So,
Yeah, but I liked it better.
from the walk-on team,
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.